off a daily fantasy. His number too high, then I'm probably fading him. He been on the road, he gon' eat up my salary. I hit up by, he gon' lie before lock. Play back to back, then I probably won't pick on the DFS bachelor, good as it gets. Build a few liners and hit me a leg. He had a good game, but it might be a trick. Log in the Slack so I know who to pick. Sharing our liners, we all gon' get rich. New to this game, you should come to the pad. You might want some cash and get a good laugh. DFS sports, we gon' run up a bag. He heard every game and it's making me mad. You buying your lineups, I think you a cheater. DFS bachelor, he the new leader, yeah.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Bachelor Pad. I, of course, am your host of DFS Bachelor, and we're going to go over our Fanduel and Draftkings slate for Thursday, August 13th. There's actually 7 games tomorrow, but the 2 early games, the Washington, Boston, Sacramento, and Lakers games are not on the main slate, and neither of those games matter at all whatsoever. I guess real quickly, just before I forget, because I always forget those sorts of things, the important things to note there, De'Aaron Fox out for Sacramento. Looks like LeBron's going to play. AD's questionable. Alex Caruso's out. All of Boston's starters have been ruled out for tomorrow. And Washington, they'll probably throw out the same starting lineup and try to end with a bang, if you will. Title of your sex tape early on. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, we're going to cover the main slate for FanDuel and DraftKings. First things first, thank you all so much for all your support. Big cheers to you all. Having a little coffee and Bailey's tonight. I really appreciate all the support in the channel, all the likes. Liking the video as much as you guys are is really helping the channel. Thank you so much, so keep doing that, please. Really do appreciate the kind words, the comments, all that stuff. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the team. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Get access to all of our content. Still getting the occasional baseball video out. WNBA, we've been off a few days. Dion's been out of town. So we'll try to get back to that maybe tonight. I don't know when he's getting back home. I think it's tonight, so maybe we'll get to that tonight. Probably tomorrow. And then, of course, all NFL content for everything. And I'll be covering the NFL over at sportsbookreview.com. We're going to be starting our division-by-division breakdowns next week. Future odds, betting odds, etc. Breaking down what every team's done in the offseason. Just kind of get us ready since we don't really have a preseason. And we're not getting a lot of real stories out of camp, etc. We don't really know a whole lot that's going on, so we're going to do our best to touch on everything and get us ready. That's a bad sex tape. Can be, anyways. We're going to do our best to get you ready for week 1 of the NFL season and the upcoming season and everything else. So be sure to check us out over at sportsbookreview.com as well. Really excited about that. Also, by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a comment in the comment section, you qualify for the weekly $25 PayPal giveaway. We'll announce that winner Sunday night, Monday morning, whichever time I get the video out, probably Sunday night, since I believe the playoffs will start Monday. Tomorrow's the second to last day of this play-in regular season. Thank goodness we'll be done with this crap. The good news for tomorrow is there are 4 games that are important. You've got San Antonio, Phoenix, Memphis, and Portland all playing, and all 4 of those teams could either be the 8 seed or they could be the 11 seed. So there's a lot of moving parts. All the teams need to win. We'll go over all that here in a second. Also, don't forget to check out Overlay DFS. Right now, if you play the MLB Progressive and you beat my score, the $22 Progressive Jackpot Tournament over there at overlaydfs.com, you win a $40 bonus just for beating my score. It's a ton of fun. They pay out. Like I won $1,000 the other day, and the money was in my account within like 3 hours. It was in my account. Got even quicker, I think. That day, it was in my account. A lot of fun. Overlay DFS. Hit them up on Twitter. Ask them about their first deposit bonus when you make your first deposit. Great group of people over there. A smaller site. It's trying to grow. I'm a grower, not a shower as well. So there we go. Check them out. Also, if you want access to my player pool, even if I don't get a baseball video out, let's say, or maybe I skip a day of NBA DFS, which I'm trying really hard not to do. It's tempting. You can click that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. You'll be able to see my player pool for all the sports. You can use it in the mass lineup generator, the lineup optimizer, the late swap optimizer. Get all the research tools. Really handy for baseball. For basketball, it tells you percentage of the time they hit value at their price, history versus team, usage, minutes, defense versus position of the opponent, pace of the teams, injury status, what they've done over the last 5 games. All sorts of really cool stuff over there at Draft Dashboard, so be sure to check that out as well. And I think that is everything. So we talked about the 4 teams: Memphis, Phoenix, San Antonio, Portland. Those 4 teams are all battling for those 8 and 9 spots. They can all win the 8 seed, by the way. Each team, if they win and the other teams lose, will win the 8 seed. The only team that controls their own destiny that just simply needs to win to hold the 8 seed is Portland. Now, the interesting thing about tomorrow's schedule is by the time Portland plays, they will know because if all 3 teams, if Memphis, Phoenix, and San Antonio all lose to their respective opponents, then Portland is already locked into the 8 seed. If 2 of those 3 teams win, Portland needs to win just to secure a spot in the postseason. So it's a big game for all 4 teams. Those 3 earlier teams are all playing close enough to each other. I suppose San Antonio starts about 2.5 hours after Memphis and Phoenix, so San Antonio will really know. If both Memphis and Phoenix win, then San Antonio doesn't have a chance to make the postseason. They'll already know that going in. So it will be, it's kind of like week 17 of the NFL season. There's going to be some scoreboard watching tomorrow. So that's important to know. Unfortunately, they don't play each other. So all the teams that they play have absolutely nothing to play for, leaving us in the conundrum that we are in. So let's start here at point guard. Up at the top, we got Damian Lillard, 10-1 on Fanduel and 11-2 on Draftkings. That's a huge prize for Dame, but you got to play him, especially if 2 of those 3 teams win. Now, if all 3 of those teams win, they desperately need to win to even make the postseason. If 2 of the 3 win, they have to win. Now, if they all 3 lose, maybe they rest Damian Lillard. That's why it's important to watch, and thank goodness both sites are now late swaps, so that's really, really nice. So it's something to keep an eye on, but assuming that they need the win to get the 8 seed, a 70 and a 59 his last 2 games against Brooklyn, and plus, with how lineup construction is going to be tomorrow, because there are so many teams with nothing to play for and backups are going to play, etc., there's going to be a ton of cheap options. So you'll be able to pay up for them and just go after the raw points, which I think is important. By the way, thank you all again for the well wishes. I am feeling a lot better today than I was yesterday. Still a little bit, tiny bit under the weather, but I'm feeling much better. Some people, get tested, all this. I don't think it's COVID. If it is COVID, I feel so much better today. I can tell you I figured out the cure. Apparently the cure would be 4 echinacea, a couple gummy vitamins, about 10 shots of red rum, and midget porn. So that's it. If I had COVID, that seems to be what fixed it, so patent that shit up. But no, I am feeling a lot better today. Just a little tiny bit under the weather still, but definitely on the track to feeling better. So thank you all for the well wishes. Getting back to it, John Morant, 7-7 on FanDuel, 9K on DraftKings. This bubble restart has been a disaster for Memphis. They desperately need the win. They're playing against the Milwaukee team with no Giannis. He was suspended for headbutting Mo Wagner. Not a big deal. It's not an important game at all. Milwaukee's locked in the number 1 seed. Eric Bledsoe's off the injury report. I can't imagine Milwaukee playing their starters much. But John Morant's certainly in play. Now, it's crazy. 9K on DraftKings just feels insane. But again, he's going to be... And Milwaukee's backups, let's face it. George Hill plays 20-some-odd minutes. He's still a solid defender. I'll have exposure to John Morant. Both he and Lillard, those prices are crazy. Derek White, you're going to see a lot. The pricing's a little bit softer, not so much for the top tier players, but in the middle to low range players. DraftKings really kind of, for the first time I can remember in a few, at least since this restart happened, it has much softer pricing than FanDuel. Derek White is 5'9" on DraftKings, but 6'9" on FanDuel. Again, Derek White is very inconsistent. Utah is not going to have Mike Conley tomorrow. Supposedly, Donovan Mitchell's off the injury report. How much he played, we already saw the last game. Like they're playing Oni and Niang and Tony Bradley and my Uncle Sal and they're playing everybody. I don't know. So, but I do. Derek White's got some tournament upside. Again, he's always scary, especially at 7K. You can see if he was 6'9" all year on FanDuel, he would have hit value 15% of the time. If he was even 5'9" on DraftKings, he'd only hit 5 times value 28% of the time. He does have a 42 and a 30 in his last couple games against Utah, but still sort of a scary proposition. New Orleans at Orlando. New Orleans has already announced that Brandon Ingram's going to be out. Josh Hart is questionable. He probably won't play. If he does, Drew Holiday is out. Zion Williamson is out. So, Lonzo will still, it looks like he's still going to play as of right now. I don't have a ton of interest there. If he gets 30 minutes, I do at 6-7, I suppose. 7-2 on DraftKings is pushing it. It's just, we'll have to see. With all those guys, I'm going to focus on the value. Nikhil Walker-Alexander, maybe some J.J. Redick. They'll give him some run in the last game before the end of the year, etc. Deontay Murray. Again, it's the same as Derek White. Neither one of them are trustworthy, but the Spurs right now are starting basically 4 guards and a center. They're sort of listing DeRozan as the power forward, even though I guess it would probably be Lonnie Walker. It's close. They're starting Murray, White, DeRozan, Lonnie Walker, and then Jacob Poeltl. So it's just a crazy scenario. They could certainly hit value, and it's a game that they need to play, that they need to win. So that's where you want to have the exposure to. Ricky Rubio, though, at 6'5", what would you rather do? Pay 6'9" and 5'9" for Rubio, or 6'5" for Derek White, or 6'5" and 7'3" for Ricky Rubio? Pretty easy decision for me. We'll have to see if Luka plays, how much he does play tomorrow. Wouldn't make a lot of sense for Dallas to risk it. Is no one learning anything from the Philadelphia 76ers? Didn't we talk about it? If Brett Brown's an idiot, he'll play Joel Embiid. What does he do? He fucking starts Joel Embiid. What happens today? He hurts his wrist and has to go get x-rays and leave the game early. It's for Christ's sake, just get to the postseason so we can have a good postseason. We don't want to see a bunch of injured freaking teams in the postseason. Remember last year how, the finals pretty much sucked. You had the B squad for Golden State with no one healthy. Kawhi Leonard, for Christ's sake, the best player in that series, could barely jump. Come on. Bledsoe's off the injury report. I don't think he plays much. Markelle Fultz, Evan Fournier, Michael Carter-Williams, Terrence Ross, Aaron Gordon, all of them are out for Orlando tomorrow. Orlando's already in the postseason. They're going to be the 8th seed in the East. They're going to be playing Milwaukee. Markelle Fultz is going to see some minutes off the bench, and he's shown some upside. He's scored 77 Fanduel points over the last 2 games. He's 5'3" and 5'2". I like Markelle Fultz. Tyler Johnson's going to start for Brooklyn. Hey, don't underestimate Brooklyn, by the way, against Portland. Portland has been dynamite. I think they're going to be trouble for the Lakers in the first round when they get there. I think Portland will be the 8th seed and win that play-in series against whomever they play. Phoenix, if Memphis loses and Phoenix gets in, watch out for Phoenix. They're 7-0 or something like that. They're on an absolute tear. But probably the 2 teams playing the best basketball, Brooklyn and Phoenix. Brooklyn with that ragtag group. Karis LeVert's available tomorrow, they say. Jared Allen's available tomorrow, they say. And Joe Harris is available tomorrow. So Tyler Johnson's been starting, scoring. Look, 24, 26, 25 his last 3 games. Actually put up a 35 his last time out against Portland. Portland does struggle defensively against point guards. If they throw C.J. McCollum out there on the perimeter, of course, we now know he's playing with the back fracture. Trey Burke, it just depends on whether Seth Curry, Tim Hardaway, Luka, how much they're going to play. If they're gonna run this as a dress rehearsal and let them have a 30-minute run, like it looks like the Lakers are going to do with LeBron, then he's in play. Javon Carter, there's a bunch of value guys. I'm going to go over them really quickly, or I'd be here all day long. Javon Carter, 4.2 and 4.1. He's seeing anywhere from the high teens to the high 20s in minutes. George Hill is probably going to start unless they go Bledsoe Middleton, which they could. They're both off the injury report. No Giannis again. They might give them some run, but George Hill will still see in the 20s. DJ Augustine, a few minutes. I don't think you'll see this Jeremiah Martin guy. As long as they say LeVert and Harris, etc., are going to play, then you probably won't see Jeremiah Martin play 26 minutes. If Luka sits, you could see J.J. Barea start. They do this whole thing where they don't play him, then they play him 26 minutes. Fuck you very much, Rick Carlisle. Rajon Tucker, you could see a lot of him for Utah. Again, no Mike Conley. They say that Donovan Mitchell's going to play, but again, he wouldn't play more than a half. So Rajon Tucker, with Emmanuel Mudiay questionable as well, could see plenty of minutes. He put up a 24 and 28 minutes. First time I've said his name. Frank Mason from Milwaukee. He's put up a 39 and 21 minutes. Total slate breaker the other day. So lots of value guys down there tomorrow at point guard. Let's go to shooting guards. Once we get to shooting guards, have a drink of coffee and Bailey's real quick before we get there. Big cheers again, everyone. Okay, let's get over to shooting guards. So we talked about some of the top, already being out tomorrow with Jrue Holiday. C.J. McCollum, again, battling that back issue. Luka, we'll just have to see. If he plays and we kind of get word, they're going to, even if he plays a half and gets you 35 or 40, it might be enough tomorrow. But you certainly would prefer Devin Booker in a must-win. You know for a fact he's going to play a ton of minutes. He's 8,800 on Fanduel. Now he's 9,800 on DraftKings. That makes me so nervous playing Devin Booker at 9,800, I gotta admit. But, of course, we know he's got the 60-point upside, a 36, a 58, and a 40 in his last 3 against Dallas. Must win. Sign me up for that. We just don't know what the workload's going to look like for Karis LeVert, so that's a tournament play only. DeMar DeRozan, the power forward for San Antonio. 7-8 on FanDuel, 8-1 on DraftKings. Again, a must-win for San Antonio. Utah, of course, is regularly a very good defensive team, but you're going to be seeing Utah at half-mast. There you go. You guys all fill in the blanks there. Oh, there we go. Back-to-back. Didn't even mean to do that one. Donovan Mitchell, no thanks. CJ McCollum. Look, he's been playing with this fractured back the whole restart. And he hasn't been exploding, but, I mean, still, look at the 4 previous games before that last game where he just shot abysmally. 33, 32, 44, and 32. He's 7-4 and 7-9. He's going to see low ownership now because everyone's going to be like, oh, CJ McCollum fractured back. But, excuse me one second. Pardon me. See, just a little bit under the weather. Not bad, though. But if this is a game that Portland has to win to get to that 8 seed or even get 8 or 9 seed if 2 of those teams win, CJ McCollum's going to play. He's playing through this, and he's certainly got the upside and low ownership. I think it's a decent tournament play if they need to win. Middleton, I just don't think plays a ton of minutes. Dylan Brooks, wide range of outcomes. His last 3 games, a 36, a 41, and then that 19 the other night. But Dylan Brooks is certainly in play, 5-7 and 5-5. JJ Redick's a bit expensive, but again, they're going to be short. He didn't even play at all in the last game, and the scenario was pretty similar. So I think you see a lot of the young guys for New Orleans. Like, well, with Josh Hart being out, that he might just have to play, but you're going to see a whole bunch of guys like Nikhil Walker-Alexander. God, you might even see some Darius Thornwell. I mean, that's what it's going to come down to tomorrow for New Orleans. So we'll just have to see. Redick's a veteran. It's tough. If he's announced in the starting lineup, yeah, let it rock. But I just think there's safer plays here. Dante DiVincenzo's off the injury report. I love the paced-up game there. I love the paced-up nature, and I do think there's some value to be had, like a Sterling Brown from Milwaukee. We talked about Frank Mason. They get the most of the minutes. It's a paced-up game, and it's going to be a frantic pace by Memphis. They're going to, Memphis could be a little tight tomorrow. You're going to see some lemon booty by some of these teams tomorrow because they need to win, especially Memphis. Memphis really needs to win. That poor team. There's a lot of young talent there, and it's just been a rocky restart for them. Gary Trent Jr. going to play a ton of minutes. Portland's running an 8-man rotation. That's straight up what they're running. The only 3 bench players seeing minutes the last couple of games are Hassan Whiteside, Gary Trent Jr., and Mario Hezonja. Everyone else riding the pine. They're running a solid 8-man rotation, and Gary Trent Jr. is part of it, playing in the 30s. He's 4-5 and 5-1. Lonnie Walker, he's going to play 30-plus minutes. He's 4-5 on both sides. He's got big upside, and again, it's not going to be the same defensive, juggernaut in Utah tomorrow because it's just not going to be all their starters. I don't even know how much Jordan Clarkson you see. They'll probably limit his minutes like they did the last game. And so you're going to see guys like we talked about, the Roquan, I just mentioned his name, at point guard. I already forgot it. I already forgot that. Cheers to almost being 40. Here we go. Congratulations. I've actually got a little time. I got a little time. Grayson Allen, yeah. I mean, he's probably not going to get you 40, but he can get you in the mid-20s at 4K and 4.3. Wesley Iwundu is going to play a ton of minutes. Now, I don't think he's better, that great of a player, but anybody getting 30-plus minutes against the backups for New Orleans, the kind of pace that those guys are going to run at, it's a hugely paced-up game. So there's some value in those Orlando players against New Orleans. Could see some Luawu, Cabaret. Sterling Brown, I think, is a tournament play at 3.9 and 3.8. What else we got down here? I mean, I'm not really interested in anyone else. Justin Anderson will see 30 minutes, but he'll still get you 10 fantasy points. That's it. Whew. Lots of, we're, at the bottom of the barrel in terms of NBA talent tomorrow. Small forward. Look at the most expensive small forward on FanDuel here. Going position by position. Tim Hardaway Jr. I don't know how much he'll play. We'll find out tomorrow. I mean, we know he's got an injury history. Dallas is locked in there at the 7th seed. So, yeah, I like Tim Hardaway. They're going to be playing the Clippers. They already know that. Clippers beating Denver tonight locks that up. Rudy Gay, of course. They're going to need him tomorrow, 5'7". Again, maybe they're just blowing Utah out. They're just beating the brakes off of them because Utah doesn't play any of their starters, We'll have to see. Brooklyn's done this and played, straight up what looked like a G League, D League, whatever the hell it's called now, team. And they went out and beat Milwaukee. Milwaukee played their starters the first half, and Brooklyn was still in the lead. So, they're still professional players. Carmelo Anthony's absolutely in play against Brooklyn. 5-4 on Fanduel, 6-3 on DraftKings. Michael Bridges, I'll take him over Ingles or Joe Harris. 5K on Fanduel, 5-3 on DraftKings. We saw the 40-point upside. All the minutes are going to be there. Cameron Johnson let everyone down the last game, no doubt about it. But he's dealing with a little injury. It looks like he's going to play left patella tendinopathy, but he's projected to be in Thursday's lineup. He's got upside, and he's going to be much lower owned now that he burned everyone. His last time out against Dallas, he put up a 39. Dorian Finney-Smith is supposedly available. How much they use him, it's a wait-and-see approach. Kyle Anderson will see his usual allotment of minutes. I don't love playing Kyle Anderson, to be honest with you. Keldon Johnson for San Antonio, low to mid-20s, and he's got 40-point upside in there. He scored 33 and 40 in 2 of his last 4 games, a couple games in the 20s, and a game at 14. I mean, that's what you get with players like Keldon Johnson. James Ennis is going to be forced to play some minutes for Orlando, so there's some value there. Each one more. We talked about the shooting guard depth, the guard depth period, just the shooting depth for New Orleans. Hazonia, we talked about him being part of the rotation. Jared Allen's back tomorrow, but Musa did play 35 minutes the last game. We really got to wait and see. Brooklyn's been pretty good at letting us know what's going to happen there. Garrett Temple, etc. Some other guys you could see some minutes. Kenrick Williams, I suppose. Melvin Frazier played 27 minutes, but he didn't do jack shit with it. Vic Law. I mean, that's what the Orlando lineup's looking like tomorrow. Boy, oh boy. You'll probably see Gary Clark in the starting lineup. Kim Birch. I mean, that sort of shit's happening for Orlando tomorrow. Porzingis is listed as questionable tomorrow. Maybe they play him. I mean, we've seen crazier stuff this restart. I don't know why they would. I don't have much interest in it. I don't know why they would even risk him getting hurt. Heel contusion. I don't see a full workload tomorrow for Kristaps Porzingis. So guys like Brandon Clark is going to have to play the minutes. Milwaukee will be without Giannis, so that's their best front court defender. Just in terms of length and creating problems and making him defend on the other end. My whole thing, life got a lot easier for Brandon Clark tomorrow. 5-2 on DraftKings. I like his price more on DraftKings at 5-2. Then at 5-8 on FanDuel. If Dallas goes with the backups, then Maxi Kleber, 4-4 on DraftKings. I can get down with that. 5-1 on FanDuel is a little, no Royce O'Neal. Zach Collins, I think the price is a little too high. Maybe the 4-2 on DraftKings. You love centers and big men against Brooklyn. Always, always, always centers versus Brooklyn. We know that. So if he sees a few more minutes than the 24, 22, and 19 he's played the last 3 games, I could certainly go there. Dario Saric against Dallas. Back-to-back 30-point outings. And he's going to see in the low 20s. That's the minutes he's going to play. But he's been really consistent. 23, 24, 22, 35, 34. 4 straight games against Dallas over 20. So, that situation's all right with me. Gary Clark's, he's got he scored 28 the game before and then a 9 the game after, but the minutes will be there. And again, paced up game, New Orleans. It's not going to be with, it's going to have Nicola Melli and Jackson Hayes. Maybe you see Derek Favors tomorrow. Probably not much of Derek Favors. You kind of want Derek Favors on the floor if you're playing Orlando because Derek Favors is just fucking lazy on the court. He doesn't even move. Sometimes I swear, I'm like, oh, he's not even down at the other end of the court. Then the shots up. I watched like 80% of a New Orleans game, and I swear I saw Derek Favors jump for a rebound like 3 times the whole damn game. It's just, no thanks. Nicola Melli should start. If he gets hot from outside, he can put up some points. What else we got down here? DJ Wilson could see some minutes for Milwaukee if, you hate your life. He has a tendency to go off sometimes. George Niang for Utah. Let's go to center. So, Nurk. Bad game last game and for his standards. He's kind of come back to earth a little bit the last couple of games. But Brooklyn, they've allowed the second most fantasy points in the league to opposing centers. They're just terrible defending opposing big men. They have been for years. We've said it for years. His last time out against Brooklyn, put up a 76. Okay? In fact, His last 3 against Brooklyn, 66, 47, and 76. He's 8-5 on Fanduel, 9-2 on DraftKings. Yikes. But I do like Nurk. No interest in Vooch. I just don't think he plays enough. DeAndre Ayton, in critical games where, well, we know he had the debacle over the weekend where he missed the COVID test, so he only played, half the game. Then he came back the next game, played 32 minutes, only put up a 25. But the upside's there. He's got a 51 and a 17 his last 2 games against Dallas. But certainly 50-point upside at 7-3 is great on FanDuel, 8-1 on DraftKings. I probably like Jonas Valanciunas a little bit more than him against Milwaukee. 7K on FanDuel, 7-7 on DraftKings. Must-win game, so yep, I'll go there. We talked about Favors. I'll just pass on the Derek Favors thing. I guess he'll be low-owned. If we get into that Portland game late and they don't need to do anything for the 8 seed, let's say Memphis, San Antonio, and Phoenix all lose and Portland's locked into the 8 seed, then I like Hassan Whiteside quite a bit. And even if you want to go value at Whiteside, he's still one of the 3 men playing off the bench. Let's say Nurkic gets into some foul trouble and Whiteside's got to play extra minutes. He's going up against Brooklyn. Put up a 28 and 18 minutes his last game back. He was just coming back from an injury. 45 out of the last time he played Brooklyn. Of course, that was in a starting role, not a bench role like he's playing now, but could be a sneaky value play tomorrow, Hassan Whiteside, especially if it's a game that Portland needs to win, or if it's a game they don't need to win. I think he would see more minutes. You might see a whole different rotation from Portland. You'd see the Nasir Littles and the Anthony Simons and whatnot. There's others, but Georgia Dieng off the bench, yeah, maybe, I guess. Nah. Jahlil Okafor will see minutes for New Orleans. He's got some upside. We see when he gets minutes, he'll put up points. In 25 minutes the last time out, he put up a 32. Again, New Orleans resting all their key players except for maybe Lonzo Ball, and they have nothing to play for. Tony Bradley will see some minutes. Jackson Hayes for New Orleans down here at 3-5. So there are some value plays there you can get to. So that's our early look at all of tomorrow's NBA slate. Again, you can get access to all the research tools here and my player pool. It'll expand throughout the day. There'll be a timestamp I'll show you at the end of the video for all the sports, lineup optimizers, etc. Click the link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. When you do, how you find my player pool, that's probably the most asked question I get. You'll click on your watched players tab. And that'll either be under this menu bar here, or if you have your screen zoomed out enough, it'll be over here on the left. You can click the watch players and you'll see a blue box that says watch DFS Bachelor's picks. You click that box, it'll highlight my player pool. You can see if I'm watching a player that you're watching, or you're like, hey, I don't know if I should watch this player. And you go over my player pool and you're like, oh, he is or he isn't. However that matters to you. Maybe you think I suck, so you do the opposite of everything I do. This gives you a way to do that as well. It also helps with overlay. If you're playing overlay DFS, you can kind of compare players here and their splits, their stats, their histories, etc. See who the sites have priced up more. That's kind of an interesting way to do it. And you'll see a timestamp in Eastern time when I last updated the player pool, so you know if I've gotten to all the news, etc. Once you do that, you can use it in the lineup optimizer here. It'll spit out some lineups. You can edit right here, save them, import the lineups into and out of FanDuel and DraftKings, generate 100 lineups here, the late swap optimizer, GPP cache, all of that is right there. So give that a look. Don't forget to check out Overlay DFS at overlaydfs.com. Come kick my ass in baseball. It's my worst sport. Trust me, I'm going to have some bad days in MLB DFS when the NBA jackpot game comes back, which will be for the playoffs, and it's up to like 20-some grand if I remember right. We'll also be doing the same thing. Every entry that beats me in the $22 contest gets a $40 bonus. So come do that. Check them out at overlaydfs.com. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you all so much for all your support. May the fantasy gods be with you. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at DFS Bachelor. As all the news comes out, you can see I'm already tweeted out like 40 things. Make sure you scroll down that timeline. And if you're feeling a little sick, echinacea, gummies, 7 to 10 shots of red rum, some coffee and Baileys, and midget porn. Thank you all so much for watching. Goodbye, folks.